Welcome back to the TrailCurrent Lab. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Waveshare ESP32-S3-RS485-CAN. Yes, that's a mouthful, but this little module is packed with features, so hopefully you find this video helpful. Before we get started, full transparency, Waveshare does support the TrailCurrent project. They do not control the video. They didn't ask to see the script, but they did send us this device free of charge. However, that was after we spent an exorbitant amount of time exploring a number of different ESP32 modules and dev boards to try and facilitate the desire to move to an out-of-the-box experience for those people building TrailCurrent. Our early stage efforts were basically custom PCBs. We started off etching them, then we moved into professionally manufactured boards. But all of these options meant that anybody who wanted to build TrailCurrent would need the skills required to do very, very fine IC soldering to PCBs. And we wanted to try and reach as many people as possible with the system. So we set out to see if we could find a out-of-the-box module that fit all of our requirements, and that's how we came across this Waveshare ESP32-S3-RS485-CAN. The first thing that we were looking for was a relatively efficient buck converter with a wide voltage range, which this device has. Basically, it can support anywhere from 7 to 36 volts on the input, and that allows for lithium batteries that are in most RVs, camper trailers, or overland vehicles in various states of charge. The next feature that we were looking for is reverse polarity protection. We did not have that even in our own boards, and that basically ensures that once you get this guy wired up, that if there's ever a mistake made and the battery's hooked up reverse, which would flip positive and negative, that the board will survive that. We did not want somebody to make that mistake inadvertently and fry the entire TrailCurrent system. Next up, we needed a CAN communication protocol for all of the TrailCurrent modules, and anybody who knows ESP32s knows that they do come with a built-in CAN controller, or most of them do, but they don't frequently come with the CAN transceiver, which is what you need to both send and receive communications over the CAN bus. This guy right here has it built in. So it ticked that box as well. Then it has TVS diodes, which offer, transient voltage protection, both on the power as well as the RS485 and the CAN interfaces. So all of those are protected as well. Now, the form factor of this particular module is not quite what we were looking for, but since it ticked so many boxes, we continued forward. Next up was the USBC interface. Basically, this is a very common and easy to use interface to flash the firmware of the module. While TrailCurrent handles all ongoing firmware updates, we wanted to ensure the initial loading of the firmware before you put it inside of any kind of enclosure was also simple as well. And so this guy facilitates that with the USB-C port. You just plug that in, and then if you head to trailcurrent.com/flash.html, we do have a web-based flasher that will allow you to load the initial firmware of whatever module that this guy is going into. I say whichever module it's going into because in the TrailCurrent setup, we use this in a number of different ways. First up is Solstice, which we'll be using to highlight some of the key features here today, but we also use it in Borealis and a number of other modules as well. This form factor is not what we were looking for, but luckily this case is very easy to adapt and modify. So if we open this guy up, it's just two little push tabs, one on each side. And inside of that case, which is designed for DIN rail mounting, we see the board itself. Some key things to note once you open it up is that there is a ceramic antenna right here on the board. We've found that that reaches even behind cabinets and other areas that we install these modules in our setup. But next to it, you'll notice that there's also a U.FL connector, and that comes in very handy if you find out that you're not able to reach those modules when doing OTA updates in the future. You have the option to add a U.FL to SMA connector right here on the board, and then route that to the case and use a larger antenna for better input signals. Next up, you'll see that a lot of this large case design was due to these LEDs. These LEDs are for power, RS485 activity, and CAN activity. We have other ways in the TrailCurrent system of knowing all of those things. So what we do is we just trim these guys down, and you'll notice that they're gone from this board here. That basically saves a little bit of power consumption per module, helps the overall system, but it's really nice that they offer that here. They have screw terminals for your CAN high, CAN low, as well as the RS485 connections on this end here. And then they have connections on this end for your power and ground. You'll notice that when we design our cases, we leverage those, but we ensure that everything remains enclosed. So we're leveraging the power and ground connections on this end, as well as the CAN high, CAN low. And then we just use those to go to the DTM connectors that we use for all of our case designs. Makes it nice and easy. And then there is a 2-row pin header right here that exposes additional GPIOs. So then what we do is we basically use a ribbon cable going to those, and that prevents you from having to do any wire to board soldering. Really simple, really easy to set these guys up. You'll also notice that the reset and boot buttons are on the board here, as well as terminators, both for the RS485 as well as the CAN bus. What that means is that it gives you even more flexibility. So typically we have these little case designed termination resistors that we do for the TrailCurrent system. And we like to use those because we put them at each end of the network, and you don't have to worry about where a module is placed on the network to ensure it's terminated properly. However, if you didn't want to utilize those, you have these jumper blocks right here that you can use to terminate. So what that allows you to do is pick a device that will sit at each end of your CAN bus or your TrailCurrent network, set that jumper, and then skip the termination blocks that we use. So lots of flexibility and lots of options there. Really helpful device. We really like it. I'm sure that if we have design considerations that we would like Waveshare to entertain, if there is enough demand, I think we have commitment from them that they would at least look at those options and entertain them. One of the things that we brought up so far was this exact same board, but just, laid out in more of a square form factor. But again, it works as it is right now. We've designed all of our cases around it. It is a great little device. Very reasonably priced. Waveshare also does a fantastic job about publishing all of the specs and the details and the schematic. So if you find that you like this board, but you want to slightly adapt it or use something a little bit different in your next project, they do a great job of sharing that information with you as well, which is really important to us here at TrailCurrent because we are open source and we like to work with companies that are as open as we are. So once again, huge thank you to Waveshare for sending out these devices. We appreciate their support in the project. If you found this video useful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new videos. Be sure to share this on social media. And until next time, remember, it's your vehicle, your data, Wilderness Wired.